Hello everyone and welcome to Ashley Plans and Saves. I'm Ashley and today I have an exciting video for you. I'm going to share part 2 of that college/grad school debt-free journey, I guess you could say. In my part 1, I talked about what my family and I paid for my undergrad college experience so that we could be debt-free by the time I graduated. Now today I'm going to share specifically how I was able to plan and save so that I could be debt-free by graduation. And spoiler alert, it has to do with lots of jobs that I held during college, and then also a kind of sort of budget/income tracker that I created for myself starting in 2013. And a combination of both of those things really allowed this video to be possible. So if you're interested in catching my part 3 where I talk about grad school, be sure to subscribe. And if you think you're going to enjoy this video, or throughout the video, if you are liking it, please give me a big thumbs up just so I know. But let's just jump right into it. Alright, so just to jump in, this video does get very long, so I did provide a quick recap of what my family and I saved/paid toward my school over the semesters, and also what I paid towards my loan each semester of college. And then after this clip, the rest of the video deals with specifics of jobs I worked every semester and hours I worked in those semesters as well. And then finally, I had a bit of a chatty reflection on like all the numbers and what I was able to do, but maybe some regrets I also held. So let's just jump into that quick recap. So if you happen to still be here, here's a quick little overview. This is from my part 1 video that lays out what my family and I paid, but then down here I did create like this nice little chart here that details how much money I saved, how much my parents gave me for school, refund checks, things like that. So if you look at all of the things that were listed in the different spreadsheets I showed you, all in all, I saved towards school payments and in my growth, savings account, $18,257 over those 4 years, which, I don't know, that's awesome. I feel pretty good about that for being in school full time and working like several different jobs. So not too shabby. My parents, thanks so much again for them because that really helped out a lot. They were able to give me $8,440 over those 4 years. And then with refund checks, we also got $5,000 back from just overpaying my school. So the total we saved was $31,697. The total we paid out of pocket to my school was $23,017. So theoretically we should have had $8,680 left. But like I said, actually I had $6,600 left. So, there's about $2,000 of a difference there, about $2,100. As I did mention, this lists out the payments I made for my loans. Like I said, I did deplete my savings at one point, and there are several times where I had $0 in savings at the end of a semester or after I made a payment. So that money just gone in the wind. No idea where that money went. But, I did have a sizable amount moving forward. And a quick note about the loan. So again, if you see here, these are the totals that I paid off, and that equals $5,052. However, when I look back at the online payment website for the loan, and even when I look at my credit report where this loan is listed, it shows a total due of $5,287. So there's about $240 that I can't account for. Like, I got these numbers from my bank statements, like my checking statements, because I would make payments through my bank account. So since I couldn't find this total of a payment of $240 or so, I'm going to assume my mom made that payment for me. Maybe she offered and I just used her card to pay it off on my website. Either way, can't thank my parents enough, because while they were still paying for my sister's school and dealing with, their own debt and things like that, they were able to give so much for me, and for that I am so thankful. But yeah, if you stuck around until now, you got this nice little sneak peek that I thought I was going to put earlier, but I just never got around to it. Now this is a sheet that I put together based on information I kept in my 2013 spreadsheet. So 2012, I didn't really, I wasn't that organized, but in 2013, I did include information about 2012. So I just created a new spreadsheet just to keep things nice and organized. So in the spring of 2012, that was my last semester of high school. At that point, I had been working a job at Kumon Learning Center since the summer of 2011, so for about 5 or 6 months. And in combination with that job and also just babysitting sporadically throughout high school, um, I started becoming a bit more independent, or I tried to be at least, with my finances starting in January of 2012. And that started with getting my own cell phone bill separate from my family's. I got like a Metro PCS $40 a month plan, and that's literally the exact same phone plan I still have right now. A different phone, but the same plan. And also, starting in that semester, I really tried to pay for my own entertainment, hanging out with my friends, things like that, because I was working, so I really didn't want to bother my parents with like spending money because I was earning money. And I also tried as much as possible to pay for like my dorm essentials and like bedding and caddies and all those little trinkets that people want when they first move out to live in a dorm for college. So I tried to pay as much of that as possible. Though I did get like lots of gifts from my family in terms of like Bed Bath & Beyond gift cards and things like that. So all in all, with that spending and working those two jobs, I was able to put aside $550 towards my fall school bill by the end of that summer. Now, I'm starting college here, my freshman year, fall 2012. This school bill had to be paid by the end of August, around like August 20th or so. I'm not going to go too much into the numbers here because that is all in my part one video. Um, so basically I paid, I paid, and I overpaid. If you look at the numbers in my family, I did overpay because we had a loan that we took out, and we did pay a lot out of pocket because I wasn't sure when my scholarship would disperse. But in the end, I did end up having $2,500 given to me in a refund check from my college at the end of 2012, so December 25th or something like that. Now, when I was actually in college working on my first semester, I earned between a few different jobs $1,280. Of that money, I saved $650. So, with the balance, I paid like my miscellaneous personal items again, traveling to and from campus. I went to school in Philadelphia, so like I would take a mega bus back home to New York for any break and things like that. Money for food, for like I had a meal plan with my school, but like I don't know, if me and my friends wanted to order out, that's the money that I spent, or sorry, that's where that money came from. And specifically for the jobs I had, my boss at Kumon, I had worked there for about a year by the time I had to go to college. He enjoyed the work I did with like some inventory stuff and helping him research things because for a Kumon Learning Center, which is like I know it's a learning center, but it's a big network of them. So like it's individually owned and managed. So he's like a small business owner. So I helped him with a lot of research for like small businessy sorts of things, and he asked me to stay on throughout college, like telecommunicating. Um, so like once a week for 5 hours each week, he would forward calls from the center to my cell phone. So if you're a parent and you rang the Kumon Center on Wednesday at 11 a.m., it would go to my cell phone and I'd answer your questions about the program or answer your questions about your account with the program, things like that. Set up appointments for him. And also just other tasks he would give me. So he would ask me to research this, this, and this, and I would just give him a call at the end of the day and just report back on what happened throughout the day. So that, and you will see this in my in all my spreadsheets. This Kumon job, like I am so thankful that my boss saw that I could be helpful for him, or that he found that I could be helpful, and asked me to stay on because it provided so much additional income for me at college. So I did that 5 hours each week. I also started tutoring in this semester with one of my college's programs, where we went to like a neighborhood next door to ours, and there were different locations. So I typically worked in a public library, and I tutored like with a group of tutors from my school with like 8 to 9 kids, usually twice a week. So a total of 5 hours each week. And this was interesting because I tutored in high school, but I didn't get paid for it. It was a volunteer position. So when I got to college, I saw this tutoring program. I was like, great, I can keep volunteering because I was going to be interested in education. However, so since part of my financial aid qualified me for work studies, meaning there was a set budget that I can make up to, I think it was about $7,000 every school year, by working, in specific types of positions. Granted, that wasn't money that was put into my account or given to me as a check. It was, I had to work, and through working, I could earn up to this amount, and the funding for that payment came through the federal government. So because I had federal work study in my financial aid package, I was actually able to get paid for tutoring, which I didn't realize until like 2 weeks into it, but I was really happy about that. And in fact, I banked on that actually later on. I picked up more hours of tutoring just because like that was a great source of income. It was a great thing to be doing in general. So you'll see that a lot. And I was also an usher for my college. So when they had performances, plays, musical things, they would need student ushers to like seat patrons, make sure people aren't doing anything that they shouldn't be doing, like taking photos or talking too loudly, things like that. So you could sign up for different calls, they would call it. So I signed up about 5 different times throughout the semester, and each call was about 4 hours in length. So those 3 jobs provided me with that income by the end of the semester. And the bills I was really paying, and this is true throughout my 3.5 years there, I paid my own cell phone bill, which I increased it. It was about $45 or $50 a month. I don't quite remember because when my boss had to forward me calls, I had to do like an add-on through Metro PCS to allow call forwarding. So the price fluctuated throughout the semesters. And then also I started paying off my federal loan. So that semester I paid $60. But all in all, I saved $650 for my school payments. And then by the end of the year, with my parents' contribution and also the refund, we had $4,500. Actually, the spreadsheet I did create in 2013 to keep track of my income and my different work positions. I did go ahead and like highlight and add some notes just to make things a bit more easy to understand. So I started off the year with $4,500 in savings from the fall. Now I still have, actually no, you didn't see this. So this is the way I set up my income trackers. This is my college payroll and this is my Kumon payroll because, college went into my PNC and Kumon went into my Chase card in terms of direct deposit. I have the period start dates, the period end dates, and then the payment date. So each cycle for both Kumon and college was a 2-week cycle of work. So when you look at the hours worked here, I worked on average about 7 to 14 hours per week between the 3 jobs, still tutoring, still ushering, and still working at Kumon. I probably picked up a couple more shifts ushering because I did make slightly more this semester than I did in the previous semester with those same jobs. From my college, I earned $830, and from Kumon, I earned $764. Coming down, that means the total earned was $1,508. From that earnings, I did, of course, continue to pay my Metro PCS cell phone bill, and I did pay $165 towards my school loans. So for all of that, I saved $640 that was in my savings account for my payments. So the $4,500 in addition to the $640, that money was in my PNC growth savings account, like a PNC virtual wallet account that I created at the very beginning of college. That's where that money was set at. That does not mean I didn't have any cash in my checking account. So with PNC Virtual Wallet, you have a spend account as well. And then also for my, I had a high school checking account with Chase that I got when I started working at Kumon. So between those 2 checking accounts, I had a couple $100s floating around. It was never at zero. So there's that, just to give you an FYI. Coming down now to the summertime, so that means in total I had $5,140 in my savings account by May 15th, 2013. In the summer, I continued working at Kumon. I actually went back home and I picked up a few more shifts, 3 days a week, and then I also worked an internship towards the end of the summer, so I cut down my hours at Kumon very slightly. I think I worked Saturdays, and then Sundays I would work by myself just doing inventory in the center. And from that internship, I earned $500. It was a stipend. And then I continued to pay for my cell phone bill, and I did make a payment of about $300 or of $300 during the summer to my loan. My goal I have here was $650, but I actually only saved $383. It is what it is. And then my parents also gave me $650 towards my school bill for that summer. So all in all, I had in savings $5,523 plus the $650 from my parents. For my school bill, that completely depleted what I had in savings, so it was a $5,523 payment, meaning I only had the $650 from my parents still in savings. So I was going to save that for the spring semester. Now, this payment that I made for the fall, it was an overpayment. We paid $2,500 more than we should have. And again, I explained that in my part 1 video, but that means I was going to get a refund um, for the semester. I think I got it like January 5th of 2014. So you'll see that in the sheet for that. Now my sophomore year at college, still fall 2013, I did pick up a couple of more jobs. So now I had 6 jobs and I worked typically between 10 and 15 hours per week. I still had my Kumon job where that semester I earned $686, obviously from my college. Um, I worked 124 hours over the course of the semester, and that let me earn $1,155. And the specific jobs that I had, is that even 6 jobs? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, maybe it was 7 jobs because you have to include Kumon. So I still continue to tutor, and this semester they asked me to be a site coordinator, which is a different position, and the funding for that came through my school, not through the federal work study program. So I consider that to be like a second job. And as site coordinator, I just made sure tutors were assigned to different students. Tutors were actually coming consistently and on time. Um, I met with like the lead coordinators for the whole program, and we talked about like different activities we could do and different events we could host for all the different locations, things like that. I worked at a college access center helping students with their writing for their college applications. I worked in the writing center at my college. I worked as a writing mentor, which was in partnership with the writing center. So once a week I would meet with a student and go over their different assignments that they have in their classes, give them feedback. We would work on like pre-planning and drafting and editing and revising, all those things. We'd also go over their professors' feedback if they got writing returned to them. So that was a pretty interesting experience. I really liked it. And the Saturday program was, again, part of the tutoring, but it happened in this semester. It was 3 Saturdays, and it was a 5-hour day. So students would come to our school. We would do activities with them, mostly like science and STEM-based activities. They would eat lunch with us on campus, and then we would have like an afternoon activity as well. So with all of that, it was $1,155 that I earned. So going down here, so altogether I earned $1,841 that semester. Again, I continued to pay my phone bill, and I paid off $470 for my student loan. And I made a note here that it says I used money from savings. That can't be true. I probably used money from like my different checking accounts. I don't know, but that's what I think happened. And from what I earned, I had a goal of saving $1,100, but I actually saved $1,125. Very specific amount, but probably because of exactly how much was due for my school. I probably pulled some from my checking account just to make that true. But this payment depleted my savings. I was going into 2014 with $0 in savings at this point. All right, so here we are in my 2014 spreadsheet, and as you can see, we have $0 left in savings. So I really had to work this semester to make sure my family and I had enough to cover our tuition. I did pick up one more job, sort of. Because I worked in the writing center in the fall, I was eligible to be a course like writing person, meaning I worked with one professor from one course. Specifically, I believe it was Introduction to Education, because I was an education major. I worked with that professor, and I worked with 7 or 8 of their students on the writing assignments throughout the course. So since that's a writing intensive course, they had like 3 to 4 major assignments. So I worked with the same students 3 to 4 times over the semester, gave them feedback on their drafts, gave them information about what the professor told me about the writing, things like that. So I got paid a stipend for that of $650. So that's not included in the total I made. That's a stipend I actually set aside for my New York State taxes, which I talked all about taxes when I did my part 1 video. So basically, with these 7 jobs, the 6 from my college, that had a like direct deposit, not a stipend, plus the one from Kumon, that's 7 jobs, and I worked between 15 and 18 hours per week. So from school, I made $1,489. From Kumon, I made $765. Oh, and also to note, I guess I did start ushering again this semester, which I also did my first freshman year. So all in all, from both like areas of pay, I earned $2,254. I made my my phone payments, and I also put $310 towards my loan. Um, of what I earned, $1,000 made it into my savings account, and then I did get that refund check of $2,500 from overpaying in the fall semester bill. So by June 1st, 2014, I had $3,500 in my savings account. Now down here, the summer of 2014, I got a research grant from my school that totaled $4,350. That grant is for working either on research with a professor or doing work at a nonprofit organization, work where you typically wouldn't get paid or they would pay you like very little. So they give you a grant to cover your cost of living and like give you earning for the summer basically. So I did work a little bit at my college. I worked alumni weekend. I went back on campus just for the weekend and they housed me for free so I could like do different events, things like that. And I earned about $200. I worked a little bit at Kumon at the very beginning and towards the middle of June, and I earned $175. But I used this research grant at a summer camp actually, so that's why I really couldn't work at Kumon because it was from 8 to 5:30 every single day. It was exhausting. And I lived in Queens, and the camp was in Harlem, so it was a long commute too. But I got paid through my school, and I got paid significantly more than I would have gotten paid from this company. It was a nonprofit, so that's why I qualified, but they were not going to pay very well for like a summer camp position. So honestly, cannot complain. That was awesome money for the work that I did. And that means in total from those three positions, I earned $4,720 that summer. And I made payments again to my phone, and then I made a $300 payment to my federal loan. So in all from the summer, I saved $3,169. For $669 of those dollars, I did make a payment to my fall bill. And then my mom also made a payment to my school. So I was able to keep in savings $2,500 going into September 1st, 2014. Now here we are in the fall. It's my junior year, and I did pick up a couple of extra jobs. So, I still had my basic jobs, and I still worked with a course and a professor this semester, so I got that stipend again of $680. But one new job that I think is like worth noting is I became a house sitter for our school's Office of Student Engagement. So in one of the campus buildings, it was actually in the basement of my dorm. I lived on the fourth floor, and in the basement was this Office of Student Engagement where they tried to, connect with students more or be more transparent with students. So in this office, there were like couches and nice chairs and a big table to do work in. They had a fridge. They always like brought in snacks. They had a back room with like board games and different activities and arts and crafts supplies. So theoretically, their goal was for students to come to this office, check out some materials, or hang out there with their friends. It was a nice space to just get some work done and relax and eat snacks. So they needed a house sitter to just really be in charge and make sure nothing got out of hand and people were returning materials and things like that. So my friend actually was really close with the office staff there, and he got me this position. And a few of my other friends as well got this position as well. So I worked 6 hours a week as a house sitter. It was actually one shift from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. I think I had this Friday shift or the Saturday shift. So I kind of cut into like my partying time, but that was fine with me because my friends would just hang out with me. I could do my laundry because I lived in the fourth floor and the laundry room is right next to the office. So I just started working that the last couple of weeks of the semester, but I did do a lot with it in the spring. And in fact, I make this note to myself that money I earned from this position, I'm putting straight to my federal loan. So I had a goal of working 90 hours, meaning I could put $810 towards my federal loan just from this one position. So I was already thinking about how I could really bank on that like extra unexpected position. So between 9 positions here, not including the stipend position and Kumon, I was working 15 to 20 hours each week. I earned $1,682 from my school, not including the stipend, which again I set aside for my New York State taxes for the next year. So from Kumon that semester, I earned $693, but I actually had two other positions as well. So towards the early middle of the semester, I started babysitting one child. His name was Carl, and I would meet him once a week when his school bus came to his house. I'd have a snack ready for him. We would go over his homework, and then we would just like hang out for a little bit. And from that family, I earned $480. They did like direct deposit into my account, so like I even got like a W-2 and everything with that. That was pretty interesting. I never did that before, but I guess he was on the autism spectrum, and I think like they had a stipend or a certain amount they could pay towards like babysitting or homework help and things like that. And so like that's the way they paid me. And then I just worked with one professor's family very briefly for a few weeks, where he had an infant who was 10 months old and then like a 4-year old. And I just watched them for a few hours. So I got paid for that, $180 total. So with all of that um, earnings, I did earn $2,375 from Kumon and from my college. And then from these two babysitting gigs, I earned $660. I still pay my phone bill, and then this is the semester I sort of split up my payments. I finished paying off my unsubsidized loan. I paid $182 to that, and then I paid towards my subsidized portion of the loan of $393. And all the money that I was able to save was $2,070. So, like, if you put these two together, it's maybe about like $3,000. Um, so I did save like a decent amount, $2,070 with my school bill here, and the payment I made towards that. I only had $900 left in savings. So, you know, it is what it is. And now I'm moving on to 2015. So, as you can probably tell from this beast of a sheet here, 2015 had a lot going on. This is the last year for me of college. So I was really doing a lot of thinking in terms of what money I needed to plan to save and then what I needed to finish paying off. So I started the semester with $900 in savings, and the job situation looked just about the same. So I had that OSC shift, the Office Student Engagement shift, a little less time than I thought. So instead of 90 hours, it was 84 hours, but all in all, things were looking good. And the stipend for my writing center like course thing did go up a little bit, so I earned $720 that semester. And instead of saving it for my taxes, because I'd already set aside the taxes from my fall earnings from that stipend, I was putting that $720 towards my bill. And then also my mom and my sister together repaid me about $600 that I had lent them or bought something for them. I can't remember exactly what that situation was, but I mean, typically when I lend money to family, I don't expect to get it back. Like, they're my family, they need it, and I have it, so I'm going to give it to them. But they gave it back to me. Happy to take that because it really, really helped out, and you'll see in a minute why. So between college and Kumon, I earned, sorry, it was about 20 to 23 hours per week of work between 6 jobs. So don't know exactly what went to, oh, I stopped working in the writing center this specific semester, just because you can only work in the writing center typically one semester per year, and then the other semester, like other students work there. So from college, I earned $2,244 plus that $720 stipend. And then from Kumon, a lot was going on at Kumon at this time. Like, my boss's lease in his office location was up, and then he wasn't able to renew. So in this time period, I was actually pulling more hours. I had to give a call to every single parent on our roster to let them know that we were changing locations briefly, to offer them like their money back or to offer them using their deposit, things like that. So I did bank a lot more hours that semester, or sorry, that time. So I had $972 earned from Kumon. Here on the right, I did keep working with Carl. Instead of once a week, it was now twice a week. Typically, I would hang out with him on the weekends sometimes as well, if he was working on like projects and things like that. So again, I sort of had the amount of money that was to be paid in total. It was $1,218 over the course of those 5 months. And there's a lot happening here. I didn't continue working with my professor's family though. They didn't really need me. So here from money earned from college and from Kumon, it was $3,216 plus that $1,218. If I go down a little bit, plus the stipend and plus the money my mom and my sister paid me back. So in total, this semester I earned $5,754. Woof. The reason there's so much going on here was that since it was getting close to my last semester at college, I was like really thinking about where my money was going. So I think at one point here, I said the things in green, I was specifically saving, like even here it's like light green. I was specifically saving towards my school bill. And then like the purple ones were supposed to be, I guess, payments for my loan. But all I know is this is actually the semester that I did pay off that loan. So down here, this is a note I wrote because it wasn't really in here that well. I paid off the loans by March of 2015 using the money from the spring. So as you saw, I had $900 in savings when I started. I used all of that money at the end of January to make one large payment towards my loan. So by like February 1st in 2015, I had $0 in savings. And then, so that's that. And then also just money I had earned so far, I made big payments. So I paid my phone bill over the course of the semester, but then I made a payment or payments totaling $2,870. So about $2,000 that I earned this semester went straight to paying my loan off. So by March 2015, I was completely debt free. We paid off that loan. Thank goodness gracious. You can see in this like tracker I had here, which when I was looking at back at this, I was like, what in the world were you doing, Ashley? But now I can see since I paid off this loan in March, I depleted my savings. So I had to really be strict with myself and aware of what money from where was going into my savings. So starting March 18th, I really tracked it. So savings from babysitting, savings from Kumon, and savings from my college payroll. And I tracked it like every time I made deposits into my growth savings account. So this is how much I saved from each of those different categories. I believe this one here, this is like money that's coming from like the other part, like the money my mom and my sister gave me back. So in total from these three things, I was able to save $3,200. So that's literally all I had in savings going into the summertime. Right. Okay, and this summer again looks a bit ridiculous. I got another research grant this summer to work. Actually, specifically, I did do research this summer with the research grant from my college. So again, I got $4,350. This time I stayed on campus in campus housing, and I worked with the professor on some education research. So the housing from my campus was $800 for the summer. And I this is my first like real budget where I said, this is how much I'm spending on food, this is how much it's going to transportation, this is like miscellaneous things, including like phone bills that I kept track of as well. And then I totaled it with my budget, and then I typed in how much I actually spent just to keep track of that as well. So I'm very proud of myself for this. I think the college office that did the grants for the summer, they gave like a sample template, and I kind of just based it off of that. So thank God for them, because they really got me into like the whole budgeting mindset. So with everything I budgeted $835 in spending, and then I actually only spent $817 in spending, which cannot complain. In addition to that summer position, since I was working with research, I was mostly doing like data analysis and like reading articles and writing up summaries, transcribing interviews, things like that. So the timing was pretty flexible. So I was still able to do my typical 5 hours a week at Kumon. But unfortunately, this ended up being the last time I worked at Kumon. If you see here, this last like pay cycle, I worked the double what I normally work because my boss ended up deciding to just completely close his branch. Him and his family were planning to move back to like the country where his family is from. So he just decided to just to move on from Kumon. And so I had to again call all the families, let them know what was happening, give them their options and things like that. So I did work a bit more there. But I earned $730. Since I was on campus, I did work alumni weekend again, and I earned $230. And since I was on campus, like I said, I could continue working with Carl through the summer. And he had much more free time that summer because he wasn't in school consistently. He had like weeks where he was between school and camp. So over that summer, I earned $915 from working with him. And like I had some notes here to myself. I have no idea what they mean, but I was very strict about some money apparently. So in all, if I go back over here, the total earned from those four things like Kumon, Carl, Alumni Weekend, and just the college funding was $6,227. The amount I spent, at least listed here, was $1,620 from the housing and the total use for my budget. So theoretically, I should have had $4,600 left, which I did. I don't know how I did it. I guess like I did go home for most of August, so I probably just did not spend a freaking dime and just ate whatever was in my house and just kept to myself because I was going into my last semester at college and I wouldn't be able to work as much. So I was really in a saving mindset. So I did save $4,600. So with this fall bill, I pretty much just used the money I already had in savings. That my parents did give me another chunk of change to throw towards that bill, and I had that summer savings. So by September 2015, I had $5,730 in my savings after already paying my last school bill. So that's just awesome, awesome, awesome. Because coming down here, in my last semester, since I was in education, I actually got certified at my college. In this semester, I did student teaching, which meant for the whole semester, I was off campus for the most part from 7 a.m. until like 4:30 p.m. because I would go to a school, I would work in the school. I was training under a teacher and I was practicing teaching with her, like co-teaching, and then also doing it on my own, all that stuff. So I could not work the typical jobs I would normally work. So I couldn't do tutoring as much. I really only focused on coordinating the tutors and coordinating the program as opposed to tutoring. I did still do the Saturday program. I started working in our school's education center, which is part of the education department, and they reserve that position for people who are student teaching because they know that there's not many things you can do with typical work on campus. Continue working the OSC, but they did shift the hours. So instead of 1 6-hour shift, they created 4-hour shifts. So I think it was from on like weekends it was from like 12 to 4, and then again on like in the evenings it was 10 to 2. So I did pick up 2 of those shifts. So instead of 6 hours, it was now 8 hours, and then I went back to the writing center. And since I was student teaching, I didn't feel like I could do a full load of working with course students, like an introduction to education, which I had been doing in the past. So instead of 8 students, they just dropped me down to 4 students that I worked with. So I got paid for half of the load, which was only $390 as a stipend. And of course, no Kumon. So with all of that, it was still between 12 and 18 hours per week between those 5 positions, not including the stipend position. So I actually still did earn $2,217 from my school. Unfortunately, I couldn't work with Carl this semester since I was getting home much later. And his bus, I had to pass him off to one of my friends who's also in education. So he got a nice new babysitter, really, or tutor to work with. And I guess it was just the nature of student teaching where sometimes you would get back to campus and see what they were having for dinner. And we were like, no, let's just order out. Or because towards the end, I had a position in a school lined up for the spring of 2016, so I needed some work clothes, things like that. But for some reason, whatever it was, I only saved $870 this semester. I was still paying towards my phone. It's not listed here, but I was. But I wasn't making any loan payments at that time. So I think just a lot of spending happened, mostly because I probably knew I had that nice little safety net that I worked on from the summertime. So in all, by the time I left school, so by January 1st, 2016, I had $6,600 in savings. And that's it. Now my college is over. I didn't graduate until May 2016, but like I said, I finished all my courses, I finished all my credits. I went back home. I started working at a school nearby where I lived, and then I was just in a mode of getting ready for grad school. So if you are interested in seeing how I paid my way through grad school and how I saved getting ready to go to grad school, you definitely want to tune in for part 3 of this like little mini series. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe and you'll get notified when I post that video. Also, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Um, Looking back, I think this is really interesting for me to see how my like thinking of money and finances has changed like over the course of the years and how early on I was considering finances. Um, Honestly, with the level of detail I had here, I would consider myself to be very anxious about money. Like my parents, bless them, they helped me so much throughout college, but in their own finances, they're maybe not as strict. And they rely on credit fairly heavily for daily purchases and things like that. So I was always a bit anxious about money because they were pretty anxious about money when I was growing up. And I think that really hit home for me when I saw my first tuition bill and I was like, oh geez Louise, I want to be responsible for this because my parents were responsible already for so much. And at the same time, my sister was in school too and they're paying for her school. So I really took a lot of my finances very seriously. And, there are some things I guess I regret. I did anticipate when I first started going and doing a study abroad in my junior year. There was like a school out of the country where we had a partnership, my college, with them, so you could do teaching there in a different country. It was supposed to be a really exciting experience. And my school was great about like study abroad because they didn't change your tuition. So if I had a bill due of, that wasn't true, but if I had a bill of $5,000, I was still billed $5,000, even if I had a chance to go abroad and live abroad. All those fees and things were paid for. Food and thing was all included. I just had to pay my regular fee. So it wasn't like a financial issue. It was a combination of just like one, I wouldn't be able to work like at all because it just wasn't really possible in that program or in any of those programs for study abroad. And two, I don't know, I was an anxious little bug about lots of things and just the thought of going out of the country on my own. I've never been out of the country before, so I just never did that. But that's one thing that I look back on. It's like, oh, that'd be really cool if I had done that because a few of my friends were able to go abroad and they had great experiences. And then also just graduating or technically like finishing school early in 2015, like that really helped me save for grad school. Like that extra $4,000 that I saved by not having to pay a spring bill, and the amount of money I saved in addition to that I couldn't have saved like, even just working on campus with that new job I got in January, completely helped me so much to end up debt free with grad school. However, that meant that I really wasn't there with all my friends, and I would go back and visit a lot because I actually still worked on campus. I would come back most weekends, but I don't know, it just wasn't the same. I feel like I was missing out on so much, and that was one additional thing that I do feel like I regret just a little bit. But it is what it is. I had some priorities, and I was really dedicated to those. So I can't go back and change it. I can only just think towards my future now and be a bit more balanced with my saving and my planning, things like that. Alright, so that is it, everyone. And if you liked it, please give a thumbs up. If you are interested in subscribing, please do so. I would really appreciate it. And I'll check you guys next time. Bye, everyone.